Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Wes McVeigh. I'm the CEO of Metropolis. Looking forward to answering all your questions on Reddit. Let's dive in. Crypto Hemlock asked, first of all, he said, "Hey Metropolis team, what's up?" He asked, "What's your token model? What's the token supply versus circulating supply? Your coin distribution?" All great questions. We're going to go with a very standard tokenized model. 500 million METs is what we're going to be calling our token. 500 million METs total. 55% of those METs will be distributed publicly in both the pre-sale as well as the public ICO. 45% will be held privately by Metropolis, and we will be releasing a token sale document shortly, definitely pre-sale, so that you can have an understanding of the full token model and what it's going to be. We wanted to keep that separate from the white paper so that we could keep the white paper more focused solely on functionality, what the business actually is, the problems that it's going to solve, versus also including ICO information. We wanted to keep those both separate. So again, thanks for the question. Moving on, Crypto Hemlock also asked, "Do you have a functioning product or will development begin post ICO?" Two-part question, but to answer this question, yes, we do actually have existing software. We actually acquired that software and we're currently building it out on the Dragon Chain platform, as you guys know, or I would not be here in this awesome room talking to you. We are building it out on Dragon Chain's blockchain and tokenizing it. Also, we have to add some new features and elements, and the more we dream about this product, the more problems we feel like we can solve, and so the more developers we're going to need. And we do, the second part of the question, if so, when will a roadmap be put up so that we can see what the schedule is? Great question. I think on your actual question, you said, I don't invest in anything unless it's laid out, solid strategy. I wouldn't either. But yes, we will absolutely have a roadmap. We're working on it right now. And we will have that out pre-sale so that you guys can see what the roadmap is, what our go-to-market strategy is, the whole deal, because a big part of what we want to do is be transparent and open and honest. And a part of that is a roadmap and a strategy. So yes, great question. We will have that before pre-sale. Last question from Crypto Hemlock. Who is developing your product? I am not developing the product. I'm the CEO. I said basically, if so, how many developers do you have? Can you share their LinkedIns? Please, for the love, have somebody other than Wes or Scott. Great question. Yes, we do have a development team. Unfortunately, we cannot reveal who that team is because they do currently have day jobs. They are working on this product. Like I said, it is an existing project, an existing software that we do have. But we do have a dev team also consisting of two of the original developers. So we'll have an IT director, and we currently have a couple of backend engineers, along with the couple of original developers of this software. We're actually looking to hire a couple front-end devs. So if you know of anybody, let me know. Shoot me a note. Happy to entertain that. We'll be located here, based out of the Seattle area. So locals, hit me up. What's our most overlooked USP? I don't really know what's overlooked and what's not overlooked because it's not a fully developed solution that enterprises are currently buying. So that's a tough question in itself. But one thing that I think people aren't talking about enough is the HR integration component of Metropolis. So currently the way it works, and I'm going to get a little bit into the weeds, so forgive me, tune into something else if weeds aren't interesting to you. But currently your personal information, your social security number, your date of birth, your everything I need for the to steal your identity is stored on HRIS systems with their own backends that mostly are protected by whatever password your HR person decides that they want to put in. Schnookums123 exclamation mark. I love hubs. Whatever the question is, or whatever the password is that they use, for the most part, is what's protecting your incredibly valuable information. And what we're saying is we want that all to be securely stored on Dragon Chain's blockchain. And the beauty of blockchain is security. And so also accessibility. So real world example, you get hired by XYZ company. From interview to when you go in and you're nervous and you think you nailed the interview, but you have to wait a couple weeks to find out. And then you finally get the job and you're super excited and you fill out a ridiculous amount of information and they quote unquote roll out the red carpet for you. And, you're doing all of your onboarding from the point of you interviewing to the point where you actually are sitting down on your first day, ready to get your credentials done, because that's the only thing you usually get to get done on your first day. There's actually real world example, a company based here in Seattle that's a Fortune 50 company that I know very well. They have 6 different systems that they currently pay subscriptions to in order to get you from interview to your butt in the seat. And what we're saying with the integration of HR systems into the full hiring process, we want to eliminate those 6 different things. We want you to interview with Metropolis. We want you to do all of your onboarding through Metropolis. We want, instead of a recruiter sending an email manually to Joe, the VP, saying, hey, did you approve this person? We want to automate all of that information and make it streamlined, automated, and super easy to use for not only hiring managers, but executives alike. So I would say the HR component of what we're doing is definitely very exciting. Also, another example, when you're applying for a job, imagine right now you apply for a job and all of your credentialing and your previous employment history and your background check and everything has to be done every time you switch a job. So in the Seattle market, a typical developer, just for continuity's sake, we'll just talk about a developer applying to a job. A typical developer works about 18 months at a current place of business. So he works at company A. When he starts 18 months ago, they do a 7-year background check. They do employment verification. They do everything else that you do to in an HR system to verify and check all the boxes so that somebody can be employed. 18 months later, that person leaves company A and joins company B. They do 7 years of background checks. They do all of the employment history. They do, educational, the whole deal all over again when it was just done 18 months ago. And so what we're proposing is when you not only find your job through Metropolis's marketplace, but then your company uses Metropolis's HR to manage that process. When you go through your next opportunity, that company, they also use Metropolis HR, company B. And so they can see when you apply, all of that information is already verified. So they know that you have your education is verified. You're not lying about your degree from University of Washington or MIT or wherever, right? Which is a huge epidemic right now. They know that all of that information is verified. And in fact, what we want to implement, and this is down the road, is something that you can do a background check for only the 18 months that's missing. But weeds, we can get into that later. The answer to your question, a ridiculously long answer to your relatively simple question, I apologize, is the HR component of Metropolis. So Michael, Reddit name MP6789, asked a couple questions. First one, I've heard a few people refer to Metropolis as the LinkedIn of blockchain. What differentiates Metropolis from LinkedIn? Really good question, Michael. LinkedIn, you're encouraged to add a bunch of information, as much basically unverified data as you can: skills, contact information, portfolios, peer reviews. I walked by a computer and my friend was developing JavaScript, and I said, "What's that?" And he said, "JavaScript." And so I added that to my LinkedIn profile because somebody was looking for a JavaScript developer, which you would not believe happens so much on LinkedIn. And so also, with it being a public forum, when you say, "I'm this, I'm that, I do this, I do that," it's public. And LinkedIn, part of their strategy is allowing a recruiter to pay to gain access to your information. So they see everything, and they're trying to hire X, Y, and Z skills, and they do a Boolean search to figure out you're part of, one of 287 people in the area that have X, Y, and Z skills, and they can pay LinkedIn. I believe for LinkedIn Recruiter, it's $99 a month, or $700 a year if you pay up front. They will be able to access all that information and send you emails and bombard you and try and do Boolean searches to find your phone number and email address and everything else, so that they can try and get a hold of you. Meanwhile, you're happy where you're at, what you're doing. You're not looking for a job. What we're proposing is forget all that, right? What we want to create is an employment marketplace that's private and secure. That's huge. So it means you update all of that data, which will be verified, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And for example, as a developer, you'll fill out a coding questionnaire, which will be parsed into, I did a coding sample in Java, and it'll parse out, in a very simple, layman, easy terms, this person is excellent in binary trees, and this person is terrible in data structures. And, we can get into the weeds a little bit more later on, but you understand it'll be actual verified information, your skills verified, and it'll be private, so that a recruiter cannot log on to Metropolis's marketplace, gain access to that information, and spam you. When you're available and actually looking for a job, you'll turn on your portfolio with all of this awesome content. And at that point, Metropolis's marketplace with our later on, it'll be machine learning and AI, but it'll be mostly our smart algorithm will connect you with jobs. And so the worst part about looking for a job is looking for a job. Right now, it's a full-time job looking for a job. You decide, all right, I'm sick of my boss. I'm sick of working too much. I'm sick of driving too far. Whatever the reason for you looking for a new job, you post your resume, and people at your company have access to view your resume, right? Hey, Johnny, why did you post your resume? Insert super lame excuse why my resume is up on Dice or Monster or whatever other job board it entails, right? And then you go out and you search job boards, and it says there's 6,000 jobs that you can look at, and you spend your time over and over swiping through jobs like bad Tinder dates, looking for the right match. And what we're proposing is, why? We have technology that can match you up like a good eHarmony match, where I'm a developer and such company needs a developer of my skill set. Let me just match it up. And it's all private. Nobody can spam you. Nobody can look for your information. Nobody can ask you for jobs that you don't want. That's all gone. And so basically how it differentiates all of that, plus when you're not looking for a job, you turn it off, and your profile is completely private. Nobody can see it. Nobody can access it. So it solves multiple different problems. There's a ton more, but we only have this room reserved for so long. So moving on. Your second question was, are applicants rated on availability or strictly skills? We do not rate applicants on availability. Like I said, when they're available, they let us know they're available. When they're not available, they can live their lives in peace without the spam of companies and recruiters hunting them down. So it will be rated solely on skills. What we want to do is create a marketplace that's truly equal opportunity. So instead of a recruiter right now, the way it works is inside of, XYZ large company, you apply, typically 250 to 400 resumes come in, and there's a recruiter that's really well paid, will sit there and spend 10 seconds looking, scanning through, nope. And I mean, that's your opportunity to get in with your dream company, X, Y, and Z. And that recruiter noped you 10 seconds into looking at your resume. And nobody wants to be noped. And so what we're proposing is, or what we're creating, it's not even proposing. What we're saying is there's got to be a better way, because part of that, if we're just being real, is maybe they see a certain name, or maybe they see a certain gender, or maybe they insert stereotype here. And what we want to say is the last thing we want you to look at is somebody's resume. I want you to look at their skills. I want you to look at their previous employment. I want you to look at previous interview history that they're rated on a 5-star basis, and everyone says this person's incredible. And if this person's incredible and they have the skills for the job that I'm looking for, I don't care what their name is, what their gender is, or anything like that. And actually, when I see that information, all of that will be a structured resume where it's blinded. Your name, previous work history, everything is blinded. So that way it gives everyone a fair opportunity to access those opportunities within the marketplace. So moving on, sometimes I get a little passionate about this because I'm so excited. This industry has not changed since long before I was born. And it's exciting to be on the cusp of disrupting an industry that is so ripe for disruption. But thank you, Michael, for the questions. Moving on. RSD 615 asked, will the white paper be updated? Incredible timing. It actually was updated. Earlier this week, we will be releasing not the final, but a very revised version of it. We had a technical writer update it, a professional writer go through and fix some of the flaws, and make it much better. So yes, thank you for the question. Be on the lookout for that. Green Tea 24 asked, can you give us an endgame use case for Metropolis as the team currently is thinking about it? Are you envisioning a new ZipRecruiter built on a blockchain or something more? Internal use HR software, public job search platform? Am I thinking about this all wrong? First of all, you're thinking about it, which I appreciate. So no, you're not thinking about it all wrong. I feel like throughout this talk, I've really kind of given you an endgame use case, right? We want to be a fully engaged marketplace where active candidates can be matched with employer needs without the spam on either side. That employer has a need for a unique skill set. Metropolis matches that up with 5 to 10 uniquely qualified available candidates, and it'll streamline the entire hiring process from that interview process all the way through you taking that job. And everything is verified, secure, and exclusively stored within Metropolis's marketplace through our Metropolis HR. So yes, it will be an internal use HR software piece. It will be not even close to ZipRecruiter. I don't really want to get into their business model, but we really feel like an end-to-end solution is needed, and that's what this will be. And so moving on to your next question, how will Metropolis assure that data is 100% verified? Does an employer or job searcher need to own Metropolis token to verify a data point? So yes, of course, you need to own a Metropolis token. For data that's verified outside of electronically outside of the system, Dragon Chain actually has an external notary function, which we will be using for validation. Currently, the way it's done is a recruiter calls, hi, Sally Smith, do you have X, Y, and Z skills? X, Y, and Z company is looking for those skills. Yes, I do. Oh, cool. I see you have a certification or a BA in electrical engineering or Bachelor of Science from X, Y, and Z school. Is that true? Yes. Okay. Everyone just accepts that as truth. And so what we're saying is let's verify all that information. And as the marketplace builds out, the more information will be there to be verified as we build out business partnerships with different schools and all of that. All that information will be verified on the blockchain, obviously securely stored and referenceable back to that specific block or node where that's stored. Moving on to the next question, Fire Rabbits asked, basically, how do you plan to compete with existing sites that employers use today? Is blockchain necessary for this field? And if so, how can it be done better? Well, this question is almost scrapped because we're not a job board. Plain and simple. I wouldn't want to create another job board and compete with anyone else because I think what they're doing is part of the problem. We're not a job board. We're a marketplace to simply match qualified candidates with employer needs. And handle that from inception to completion, from interview to hire. And so we don't need to compete with them because we're not them and we're not competing with them. So lastly, what I wanted to talk about real quick is we have some awesome stuff coming up. You know, we get all the typical questions. When's the ICO? When Lambo? All that stuff, right? And so we just want to announce we do have some incredible advisor partnerships that we're working out the final details of. We will be announcing those soon, so stay tuned. We will be announcing our pre-sale sometime in the near future. Please stay tuned. Obviously, it'll be announced on Dragon Chain official channels, our Twitter, and everything else. And lastly, thank you guys so much for caring. Thank you for being a part of the Dragon Chain community where people can have influence and they can share their thoughts and make projects like mine and Scott's and everyone else that's involved in this project better by the input that you guys have. And so it's incredible to be a part of a community like that. Let's continue that, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.